up to date on the top local news stories. Zara, hello there.
Hey, Gloria. So the union representing transit workers in BC's Eastern Fraser Valley says it's actually asking its members to accept a mediator's recommendations to end a months-long strike. The employer has until Thursday to accept or reject these recommendations. Now, we know that more than 200 union members, including drivers, utility workers, bus washers, and mechanics, have all been on strike since March 20th, so this is definitely welcome news. As well, Team BC athletes are competing today in the North American Indigenous Games, with hundreds of athletes traveling to Halifax to take part. In fact, there's more than 5,000 players from across North America taking part.
Sounds great. It sounds great. And I'm really encouraged by the news that there's a, potential settlement for the Fraser Valley, people who come to rely on that bus system. 4 months is a long time without any bus service. Zara, thank you very much for that. For people getting around on four wheels this afternoon, Steve Jung is watching the traffic situation for us.
Well, Gloria, we can confirm now that the car fire in West Vancouver has been put out. It's near Horseshoe Bay. Earlier, it had closed the upper levels highway, but we're getting reports now that a single lane eastbound is managing to get through. So hopefully those delays will begin easing. Just give it a little bit of time and please be patient while all of that gets underway. In Burnaby, there's a crash on Burn Road northbound after Marine Way in the right lane, and in Surrey, a stall on 32nd Avenue westbound at Highway 15, causing some pretty nasty delays there as well. If you see anything else out there, give us a shout. Star or pound 690 is the number to call. More traffic coming up in about 10 minutes.
Steve, thank you very much. And time now to check in with Darius Madavi. Darius is a CBC News science and climate specialist. He's here for Johanna Wagstaff while she is off on maternity leave. Darius, hello there.
Hello. Happy to be here.
Yeah, well, we were talking last week about that long stretch of hot, dry weather, and then we woke up this morning and some of us had a few drops of rain. And I really want to emphasize the few drops. Take us through it. How did that unfold across the region?
We were really hoping we might get at least a few millimeters of rain this morning. It didn't quite pan out. I was one of those few people. I think I counted 6 drops land on me on my walk into work. So really not anything significant.
So was this just a random system? Is this something that you've been seeing coming for a few days already?
It looks like it was just a few drops that blew in off the ocean. We didn't see anything really significant. It seems like there's a ridge of high pressure rebuilding over the south of the province, so I'm not expecting anything to happen over the next week or so. That was really our one shot to get something.
Oh my.
And it looks like for the most part we've missed it. I haven't seen anywhere that's seen any measurable precipitation on the south coast over the last this morning at least.
Okay, so what is the local forecast?
Well, we are looking like temperatures are going to start climbing again. Today is our only day around seasonal before temperatures come back up to where we were at the end of last week. So for Vancouver today, we can expect 23, a low of 13 tonight, and then back up to 23 again tomorrow. A couple degrees higher if you're further inland. So Chilliwack and Hope are all going to see 26-ish tomorrow. Up in Squamish, 26 also. They had a better chance of getting a bit of rain. It looks like we might still see some in the next hour or two. I'm not too hopeful.
Okay, well, if you're listening from Squamish, please let us know on the coast at cbc.ca if you do see some of those showers develop. We'd like to hear it. And again, not just a few raindrops, but some actual showers. Now, what about the snowpack? Where are we at with that? We talked about the levels, but it's been a while since we've actually looked at how much, what is the snowpack situation around the province?
Yeah, so the province usually sends out updates every 2 weeks into the beginning of summer. This year, they stopped about just under a month ago because our levels were so low that we were basically at zero. So normally at this time of year, we have a pretty good level, at the time of the update, which was mid-June, we were 95% below what we're usually at that time of year during that last check-in. So right now, I don't expect to see any more inputs from snowpack into our water reservoirs pretty much anywhere in the province. It seemed like pretty much all snowpack levels were way below where we should be.
Okay, and obviously we've been told to conserve water. We're going to be checking in with Caroline Chan shortly. But what can you tell us about the drought forecast?
It seems like we're in a pretty dire situation because we're expecting the South Coast to have less than usual precipitation, which already in the summer isn't too much, and we're expecting to have less than that. Across the province, temperatures are going to be hotter than usual. The country released the probabilistic forecast, which basically says how likely we are to get temperatures higher than average or lower than average. And across the province, we're looking at 70 to 90% likelihood of seeing temperatures above seasonal for the rest of the summer. And to have drought, you really need three ingredients. You need no input from snowpack sources, you need minimal input from precipitation, and you need extreme heat or high temperatures. And it looks like we have all three ingredients this year, so I don't expect drought conditions to improve anytime soon. We're seeing some showers in the interior today into tomorrow, but again, nothing more than a few millimeters, and we need sustained inputs if we're going to see it alleviate itself.
Well, alleviate the drought and help out with the forest fire situation as well. Now, what about overseas? What kinds of temperatures are catching your attention?
Oh, we are seeing some crazy heat waves around the world. Any one of these heat waves alone would be considered extreme and abnormal, but we are seeing heat domes set up in the south of the U.S., and in the south of Europe and in China. We're seeing all of these places expected to come close to, if not break, temperature records for the region. In Death Valley in the U.S., we might see it break the all-time temperature record globally, which is 54.4 degrees Celsius. There are a couple other records that were set within the last century that meteorologists sort of debate whether, and those are around 56 degrees Celsius, but 54.4 is the widely accepted non-debatable record.
I see. Yeah, I see a BBC story, in fact, looking at the Death Valley temperatures and how tourists are flocking to Death Valley. I want to get a photograph with to show the temperature in the background. I want to be there on the hottest day ever. I mean, it's kind of a strange kind of tourism. When we did just get an email from Adam, who's in Whistler, he says, listening to your weather report right now, it rained heavily all morning in Whistler until 2 o'clock. Really got a good soaking. Adam, that is very good to hear. We certainly appreciate the update. And Darius, thank you.
Thank you. That didn't show up on the radar. I'll have to check that out.
There you go. Adam, he was there. It is good news.
Yes,
okay, that's Darius Mahdavi, CBC News science and climate specialist, and he joins us every afternoon at this time. And it's right now 13 minutes past 4 o'clock. You are listening to On the Coast on CBC Radio 1. And as you heard from Darius's weather report, we're looking at low precipitation over the summer that will have an impact on our water reserves as well. And our story producer, Caroline Chan, she wanted to get a better understanding about this. Caroline, hello there.
Hi, Gloria.
Why don't you describe where you are right now?
Well, I'm right here just above the Cleveland Dam, just off the parking lot. And the funny thing is, as we were listening to Darius's weather report, it's starting to spit. There's some rain coming down. So we're getting some definitely interesting temperatures and weather here. And I'm standing here next to Heidi Walsh. She is the Director of Watershed and Environment at Metro Vancouver. Hi, Heidi.
Hi.
So, Heidi, tell me, we've got rain here. How is our water levels in our reservoir?
So our water levels are at the normal range for this time of year, but other than right now, the weather over the last few weeks certainly hasn't been normal for what we see in May, June, early July. So it's been really hot and dry, which puts a lot of stress on our water levels.
But if our water levels are good, then what's the concern?
So what we need is to make this water supply last out through the fall. So if we continue getting this really hot, dry weather, that is really hard for us to kind of predict how long we're going to be able to meet our supply demands right out through October.
So what are you hoping that people do?
So what we're really asking people to do is to follow the watering restrictions that we have right now. So right now it's 1 day per week per household. And we really need people to do that and to follow those restrictions.
And so far, are people kind of following those restrictions?
So they haven't been all that great so far. So we are seeing some odd trends in our weekly water supply when we look back. So we do really need people to not do those midweek waters and to just stick to watering on their day on Saturday or Sunday, or if they can, just not water their lawns at all and just let them go golden.
And what is the worry about, like, in terms of how closely you're looking at the water levels?
Yeah, so we have a team of people that pays really close attention to the water levels, the current weather forecasts, and the outlook, so that we can really make sure that we're on top of planning for the water supply.
And for people who are coming here to Cleveland Dam, like, it looks like Capilano River lake is looking quite good. Like,
Yeah.
but in terms of levels, like, what is a normal level, like, if you look at the trees in the lake?
Yeah, so when we're at full pool, the water is right to the base of the trees that you can see around the edge of the dam. So we've just started our summer drawdown, and that just continues. The hotter and drier the summer is, the faster and faster we have drawdown in the reservoir.
And in terms of, like, water consumption during this period, what have you noticed?
So typically we serve about 1 billion liters of water per day. And that can rise up to about 1.5 in the summer. And this year we've seen a 20% increase in water use through May and June. So we've been over that 1.5 billion liters mark quite a few times.
And if people want to do more, where can they find more information?
So if you go to welovewater.ca, you'll find all kinds of tips on how to save water and on our reservoir levels.
Cool. Well, Gloria, as you can hear, we are in good shape, but we do need to make sure to conserve as much as we can.
Well, I want to hear a little bit more about the rain that you're experiencing right now. I mean, is it a rainfall? Are you getting a few little spits and spatters, that type of thing? Does it feel like it's significant there at the Cleveland Dam?
Well, not really, because it's been kind of spitting at us in little bursts, and now it's drying up. There's very little bit, and probably in the next minute it'll probably go away. So we're not getting a lot of water here. So as Heidi said, we need to kind of conserve. And I don't know if you can see behind, but you can definitely see the tree line and see the difference between where the water level is.
Yes, no, I can see it from here on this in-house, and anybody who is watching on YouTube right now can appreciate that as well. But you got to describe it for our radio listeners too, Caroline. You got to describe it too.
Sorry.
Okay. Thank you very much, and thank Heidi for the update as well.
You're welcome.
Caroline Chan at the Cleveland Dam. For those watching on YouTube, that does conclude our live stream for today. Thanks very much for joining us.